St. Brown update. Out week 14, maybe out week 15, but we have more on St. Brown. We've got Drake London day-to-day. We got J.J. McCarthy, J9 back in the lineup. Well, of course he is. I mean, where else would they turn at this point? And honestly, it's a welcomed return to the lineup. At least Justin Jefferson can get 50 yards instead of 12. London day-to-day, will he be back in full swing? Will he potentially help save you and march you into a playoff spot or win you a championship? Or will he be a watered down version of Drake London, the top 5-6 wide receiver we've come to love and know with Penix Jr. under center? Without Penix Jr., can he even be the watered down version of Justin Jefferson with Carson Wentz? It's such a confusing year. It's such a frustrating year. It's such a crazy year. The Fantasy Football Show Breaking News Edition. St. Brown, London, McCarthy, and maybe a few other pieces of news, but we'll focus on those three. That show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So Drake London, the news on Drake London is this. Raheem Morris said Drake London has a chance to play week 14. He's now day-to-day instead of week-to-week. Obviously, when you're day-to-day, that means the upcoming week is potentially possible for you. If you're week-to-week, that means you're essentially out 1 week at a time. So good news, good update. Doesn't mean he's locked into play. Doesn't mean you can count on him and plug him in and not, and get on a plane and land in week 15 and say, how did I do? You do need to stay on top of this. Of course, we'll be all over this as news unfolds, just like we're here right now talking about this news about Drake London. But has a chance to play week 14. That's great news. Couldn't have come at a better time as some of you march into the final week trying to get your playoff spot locked down. Maybe some of you, especially if you've had Drake London out, you've probably been struggling a little bit, dragging your feet a little bit the last couple of weeks, and you probably need a win. I doubt very many Drake London owners are coasting into the playoffs. They're probably in that sort of, at least you're fighting for a better seed and you're like, desperate to get a win. I just don't know how he'll do his first game back. I don't know how he'll do with Kirk Cousins. We've seen it before. We know that it's a watered-down version of what we got with Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. might not have been perfect. Michael Penix Jr. might have had a lot of flaws and been up and down. Not really his fault. It was his rookie season. I don't think Penix Jr. should be given up on. I think people look at Penix Jr. and they think he should be a 4-year veteran, a 6-year veteran, because he's an older player that actually entered in his second year, just like J.J. McCarthy did. But he had some promise. It was really the coaching. They set him up for failure. I think Michael Penix Jr. does have a lot of good skills that he can move the football down the field. The team can win with him. The Falcons would look 1 minute amazing. The next minute they look horrible. That was the nature of this team. And some of the highs were super high. I mean, Bijan was firing on all cylinders. Drake London was a top 6 wide receiver in almost any single format you look at. In fact, I think he's still lingering inside the top 10 just by, even being injured, just because he was at such a good positioning when he went down. Penix Jr. needs to be given, I think, another chance because he needs a coaching staff that can enable him, not hold him back. And this staff is frustrating, very frustrating. When they give Bijan Robinson 70 yards and no full volume one game, they hand the ball to Algier at the goal line. And because Algier gets in, they think it's working. It enables them to continue to do it. But I'll tell you something, just because you're able to successfully get into the end zone with a running back doesn't mean you couldn't have got in one less attempt by going with the other running back. Just because Algier can run for 40 yards on X number of attempts doesn't mean Bijan can't get 65 on the same number of attempts. It makes no sense. Just because Algier's good at the goal line work, like some running backs are expected to be if they're in the NFL, doesn't mean Bijan's 10 times better. It doesn't mean he isn't 10 times better. Bijan is 10 times better at everything Algier does. And it's just an incompetent staff. It really is. They do these press conferences after the games where Morris goes up to the podium and he acts like he's got all these reasons why he didn't do what he did, reasons why they didn't give Bijan the ball, and he sounds convincing. The fan base is confused, and we're sitting here watching from afar going, you guys don't know what you're doing. You're imbeciles. And they need to be removed from their positions, and they need to bring in a staff that knows how to use this weaponry, this arsenal of weaponry, even Penix Jr. included. Now, I don't know if Penix Jr. is fixable. Like it's early on. We don't really know. He could be somebody that never develops in certain ways. It could be that they're stunning his growth. It could be that he's so old and he's older and he's now suffering yet another injury, won't be prepared for week number 1 most likely, that we're in some sort of flux where he can't ever really get his groove and he just falls off the map. That's certainly possible. But let me ask you a question. Are you confident that this is the right staff to have in the position to try and make the dangerous and rocky water calls of saying, let's go ahead and go with Penix Jr. one more time and not support him and he's not even ready for week 1, or go get another quarterback? Are we doing a stopgap measure? Is it Kirk Cousins? What is going to happen in the early part of the 2025 season? Is this the staff to trust that it'll all go right again? Absolutely not. So I want this new, I want a new clean slate, fresh look here for the Falcons in 2026. I don't know that I'll get my wish. We'll see. But Raheem Morris, again, saying that London's day-to-day. And London, do not expect London of old. Expect London, a watered-down version of London that can get you the yardage, but probably not the touchdowns. Or can get you a touchdown, but probably not the yardage in unison. This is probably a 65% Drake London that you're getting at any one moment moving forward. But guess what? 65% of Drake London is still a top 12 wide receiver. He's a top 5 or 6 wide receiver if he's getting full usage, if he's got Penix Jr. throwing him the ball, if Bijan Robinson's ripping off long runs, if Raheem Morris and his staff run Bijan at the goal line, which they don't do, if all that's going well, this is a top 5 wide receiver. Now, in Dynasty, in 2026 redraft thinking, you got to ask yourself, are you going to take a gamble on Drake London? Are you going to take a gamble on anybody on this roster? Of course, you'll take a gamble on Bijan, but at quarterback, would you even consider whoever's signal calling? Let's say Penix Jr. is ready in a miraculous comeback. He's ready for week 1. He's probably not going to be. But if he was, are you gambling on him? Are you gambling on Drake London? Are you gambling on anybody but Bijan at a full, confidence type capacity? I don't know that you are, because we've seen this happen over in Atlanta over and over again. Like, my confidence level of Drake London walking into next year week 1 at full capacity is very low, because it's not his fault, but it's very low because of the inept coaching and decision making and situation that surrounds him. But I really, really do like him. I really do think he's an elite player, but we are unfortunately in almost a holding pattern, if you will, of keeping Drake London in a top 5 wide receiver ranking go forward until we have clarity that we can see from a mile away. As for the remainder of this season, week 14, 15, 16, 17, 4 weeks of Drake London, what do we get? I think we get 60, 65%, maybe 70 if we're lucky, of Drake London 2025 pre-injury to Michael Penix Jr. I think that's what we get. Now, that's good enough. You got to plug it in your lineup. There's no wide receiver 3 or 2 that's really beating that out. You're certainly putting him in at least your high-end running wide receiver 2 spot. BBQ dropping 50 gifted memberships. BBQ to the moon.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Can I get a BBQ thank you from the chat? BBQ.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, let's move on from Drake London. It's depressing enough to even have to be talking like this about a guy that's got top 5 wide receiver talent, and it's bleeding out, and it's crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, ankle, did not practice on Monday. What's new here? Well, what's new here is, we need to set the expectation. He's guaranteed, almost guaranteed to be out this week. I should say almost guaranteed, because this guy plays with like muscles ripped off the bone, and he's crazy, man. He's crazy. But if he played on this ankle, he most likely will put himself in some major jeopardy or be some sort of decoy. It just wouldn't be a very good move. They're going to sit him 1 week, and then we'll see what happens. He is the kind of player that most likely would try to return after the 1 week. But he's out 1 week. You got to expect that. And he's probably got a 50-50 chance of being out the next week. That's a very optimistic outlook, too. So expect him to be out 1 to 2 weeks, but hope that he's only out the 1 week. But we'll kind of play it by ear. Good news is there's no structural damage. It was a lower ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. This is one of those 1 to 3 week window situations, not 4 to 6, like a high ankle would take him out a month. Well, maybe St. Brown would take him out 3 weeks, but normal person would take him out a month. But this is good news. BBQ, thanks again for the dropping of the gifted memberships. BBQ to the mother freaking moon.
I smell meatloaf. Hey, Ma, the meatloaf.
What a monster. Yeah, and a lot of you, I see you saying you need him healthy for the playoffs. So this is true. Like, you want him to sit this week. You need him back. You don't want him trying to do something wild, like get out there. He's got that mentality to try it, but you need him healthy for the next week. Now, hopefully he gets back by week 15, though. 15, 16, 17 is the 3 weeks you need him. We've got this next week 14, then it's 15, 16, 17. God, the season's flying by. But no real interesting update on St. Brown other than we've had people wondering, is there a shot he could play? Because there's talk about it sometimes. And no, I mean, there should not be a shot that he plays. This would be a reckless move on his part. JJ McCarthy concussion protocol, clearing it, symptom-free. Never thought I'd want to see J9's face so badly. This Brosmer, Bromeister is probably the worst QB in the league. And we didn't know. No one knew. No one expected anything. I came out here 10,000 times and said, I hope he's a gem. I don't know that he is. I don't think he is. No one has really any information on him. Doesn't matter if he was good in college or not good in college or not. Players don't get drafted all the time. Look at Kurt Warner. Look at Tom Brady. Like, no one knew what they would be in the NFL. No one knew what Bromeister was going to be, but he was awful. He was awful. He was putrid. And I've never seen a player that I despise so much being in a lineup for my JJ, my Justin Jefferson. I've never been so excited to see somebody I despise so much. I've never imagined saying, J9, I welcome you back. J9, we welcome you back.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, buddy.
Now go get JJ that 40 yards and 0 touchdowns, pal. Give us at least the 4 receptions and 40 yards. We were greedy. Thinking, we want more. Put in this Brosmer, Bromeister guy. Let's see what he can do. We were greedy. We should have just been accepting and excited for the 4 catches and 45 yards we were getting out of J.J. McCarthy for Justin Jefferson. But here we wanted more. The greed got to us. Well, I'll take the 12 points, the 10 points, whatever I'm getting out of J.J. if that's what it takes. Get Justin or get J9 back in the lineup. Jeez, man. But, we have to have this talk about, is Justin Jefferson quarterback proof? He's now at 3 quarterbacks, and he can't produce anything close to elite numbers. He's been a bottom outside the top 25 wide receiver all year long. Was it bottom 30? He has not delivered. He's had 3 different quarterbacks in a system that really should be allowing him to do good work. And it doesn't mean that JJ is not one of the top 3 talented wide receivers of the National Football League, but some wide receivers need the football delivered to them in certain ways, or they can't do what guys like Neighbors can do. And it doesn't mean that he's a lesser player of any kind. It just means that he does need a quarterback. So then we have to have the conversation in 2026 here coming up. Is JJ going to be okay? We don't know. The answer is we don't know. The answer is we know he's not going to until we see a QB change. That is the answer. And so if you walk into next year expecting different, of course I would take him probably a lot higher than he's finishing and expect him no matter what to get an improved situation of sorts. But if you're drafting, let's say today for 2026 redraft, where in the hell do you take JJ? Because you know that Justin Jefferson right now is not surviving a rotation of 3 garbage quarterbacks. You also know that the NFL is not a place where you just find a top 5 QB laying around. And so will the Minnesota Vikings be able to go get the draft pick that they need in order to get the quarterback they need? Will they once again screw that up? Keep in mind, people say, oh, they'll draft one. Will they, though? Because they just drafted this guy. You're trusting. This is like when Green Bay selected Matthew Golden. Everyone said, Smitty, Matthew Golden's going to be good. You know how I know that? Because this team's never drafted a wide receiver before. And I said, that's your evidence? The team that doesn't know how to do it, that hasn't done it, is the one that's going to do it on the first try? That's like saying, Smitty, he doesn't drive. Billy Bob over here doesn't drive. If he's driving for the first time, he's going to be on time. This is a guy that's finally going to get in a car. You're trusting a guy that's never driven before to get somewhere on time the first time he drives. You're trusting the Green Bay Packers to draft a wide receiver when they don't know how to do it and haven't done it for 2 decades. It was asinine to me that people thought Golden was the right pick, that they knew he was the right pick because they spent the draft capital that they never spend on a wide receiver. It was just laughable to me. So when you say, oh, the Vikings will take care of it in the draft, Smitty, they'll figure out a way. Will they, though? Because they drafted this man. They thought this guy was the solution. So I don't know that I trust the Minnesota Vikings drafting a QB. I don't know that I trust anything about this situation. I don't know that, I can't imagine somebody doesn't want to go there and play, but will they go get what? Mac Jones, Kyler Murray? What's the alternative? What is the solution? Is there a solution in sight? Does anybody have an idea? Please raise your hand if anybody's got an idea about what could happen. Jameis Winston, I mean, is that a long-term solution? Is that something that's going to wet your beak for a whole season? I don't know. I don't think that that's the long-term solution whatsoever. But what is the solution? We don't know. So Justin Jefferson is a wild card value that we can't really put our thumb on right now and pin it down until we know what's up. So we have to tread lightly in Dynasty. We got to look at this in a weird way. In the Dynasty, we got to attack it in a different way. We got to very much, anticipate that JJ will have an improved situation most likely, but how high can you draft him? Is he really a top 7 overall pick? In the chat right now, if you're drafting at a 2026 redraft, not Dynasty, but 2026 redraft, where do you take JJ right now? Just throw a draft pick out. 2.1, 1.8, 3.1. Where do you take JJ? And don't say it depends on who they get. That's the whole point of the exercise, Steve. Everybody out there with what you know right now and what you predict to happen. What is the draft selection? You will draft 2026 redraft. If you're drafting today, you have to draft today for next year's team. You're doing it today. Throw out the drafts, the 1.8, the 2.5, the 3.7, the 4.1. Tell me where you're drafting JJ right now. Take a guess. Take a wild guess. I've got a 2.9. I've got a 4.5. I've got a 3.1. Earliest 1.9. We got one real bold take right there. We've got third round 2.4. I will say, and as tough as it is to say this, and I know that it's hard to you are speculating, right? I'm going to say third round. I'm going to say if I'm sitting there at 3.1 and he's there, I'm not saying that in every league, but in this particular context, in this one league where we're playing futuristic football and we're drafting for 2026 now, in this particular league, I'd take him at 3.1. I don't think I could sleep at night not taking that value, but I don't feel confident. I'll tell you that. I don't know. This is going to continue on. There's no solution in sight. This is next year I'll be reset. Right now, there's no reason this would change. Him playing this way right now, there's no tangible reason that things would flip in the right direction and turn 180. There's no way. So you are taking a gamble, and it is almost stupidity to draft him in the 3.1 territory, knowing what we know. BBQ says last night showed us how much how much we were robbed of JD5 Debo McLaurin season going to be lit next year. I do agree. I think people are going to be very down on the Washington Commanders and down on JD5, and it could prove to be a very lucrative investment in 2026. Drafting JD5 in the 5th or 6th round now, like 8th, 7th round. Who knows where he goes? It's interesting how JSN season last year and Ibuka are very similar. Ibuka, year 2, going to be fire. Look, the rest of Buka's year 1, I think, will be fire at some point. All rookies, I've explained this to people. For some reason, people just don't grasp it. Here's week 1. Here's week 17. Here's week 10 through 14. When a rookie starts off like Buka did, and then they hit this rookie wall, and this rookie wall is a very thick wall. Sometimes it's 2 weeks long, and it's tough treading through it. There's snow, there's hail, there's rain, there's pushback, there's injury, there's struggle, and Buka's like down here right now. When they break through, when any rookie wide receiver breaks through the rookie wall, and they're an elite player like Buka is, they always skyrocket through the rookie wall. Almost always, unless there's an injury or some unforeseen situation. Quarterback goes down, like if Baker were out. Like that could be a reason why he didn't. But fully expect him to explode down the stretch of the 2020. Even if it's the last 2 weeks, I do think he's going to explode. Evans back on the field healthy. I do expect to bounce back, yes. Godwin could definitely help. BBQ with another super chat right here. BBQ, appreciate you dropping the 50 gifted memberships, dropping the 3 super chats. You're a monster. Vikings so messed up, even A-Rod could have fed JJ and crew. A-Rod is regretting going to get killed in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I think A-Rod probably wishes he could go to Minnesota. Minnesota probably wishes they had A-Rod. I think that's probably true. But I don't think A-Rod's got it in him to go another round. He looks like he barely could get through this year. It sucks that it didn't. I don't know what he would have done in Minnesota, though. I don't know if it would have just been a mediocre year. Would have been better fantasy production, though, that's for sure. Rest of season, playoffs, London or Ibuka. Ibuka. And I know that might be a shock, and some people might disagree, but you have Kirk Cousins with London. London's not back yet. London might be back this week. He could be hampered. He could get re-injured. He's injured. So I'd take a healthy player in Buka and a player I still believe in. If people want to jump off the Buka train, I don't care. It's my job to, try and convince people, of course, but at the end of the day, I can only do so much of that. And in some contexts, I'm not going to sit here and beg people to believe in Buka in weeks 15, 16, 17, or even if it's 17 and 16. I don't know when he bounces back, but I do know that the historical data of rookies breaking through rookie walls and exploding when they are elite players is very, very high, the likelihood of it. But being that London's injured right now, the idea of a recidivism or him not being ready, even though he's day-to-day and people think they know what's going on and he misses another week and then so on. So, I'm definitely going to say I like Buka more. And I still believe in Buka. I still think Buka is a phenomenal elite player that is a rookie. And he was so good for such a long period of time at the beginning of the year. Is anybody going to take that as what? Happenstance? A Fugazi? I've trained you better than that. We've seen the elite that is Mecca Buka. He's elite. He's so far beyond his years. You've heard it from the coaching staff. You heard it from me all offseason. You saw it with your own eyes. And he's going through something right now. And that happens. It's called a rookie wall. It happens to every player. It's so shocking to me when people are shocked about a rookie wall. That is all we have for right now. It was going to be a short show to begin with. I'm not cutting it off. I'm merely coming out to talk about these pieces of news. I'll be back before kickoff. I don't know. I'm gonna maybe be pushing it to be live on time tonight at the 8 p.m. show, but I'm going to try and be live right at 8 p.m. And if we're live and then the game kicks off, we'll certainly be back for the wrap-up show as well. So there's 2 more live streams today. The pre-Monday Night Football live stream, which again, I'm going to be pushing it to get live, just so you know. And then the wrap-up show. So we have two more live streams after this one. I will see you all on the flip side. Thank you, BBQ, for dropping those gifted memberships. Everybody thank BBQ.
Mashed potatoes!
I'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live after the game. Check out our sponsors. Don't forget Underdog, promo code Smitty. Underdog, promo code Smitty. Play 5, get 100. And don't forget to get on over to the Patreon, which is where you can, if you have extra questions right now and you're like, I need help, go to the Patreon. It's $10 a month. Try it for 1 month, $10. Don't get your espresso, your tall, venti, latte, sour, or whatever. And just one time. And if you don't like it, you cancel it. But $10 a month, cancel anytime. Get into the Patreon. That link is right here. Boom. I'll pin that link on the way out the door. That is the Patreon. It's 24/7, 365. And see you all tonight. And in good measure.
Taking it to the house every time he touches the football, baby.
Deuce. Thanks again, BBQ.